Hi everyone, my name is Sing Chen. In this video, I'm going to show you the tennis equipment and rules used by people between 1870 to 1880. Let's check it out.
I will explain about tennis racket. Tennis racket made in the 1870s had a tilt on the head. It had a white wood frame and the handle was made up of mahogany. The strings were made of natural gut and intestine of sheep. Second, I will explain about tennis ball. Tennis ball made for the modern game in 1870s were completely made from spherical stitched envelope of leather or cloth stuffed with rags, horsehair or similar material. Shortly afterward, the design was modified by covering them with flannel so that the playing of the balls could be improved. I'm going to talk about tennis apparel. Women's clothing in the year 1880 was not an emphasis of tennis. For example, women simply wore their ordinary dresses to play lawn tennis. Sleeves were long and skirts often brushed the ground. However, for male tennis players, they wore clothes similar to attire for other sports like cricket. Generally, a loose white shirt was teamed with trousers or with knee-length knickerbockers and stockings. Next, I will explain the tennis rules. Tennis was originally named as lawn tennis. It was a game in which two opposing players or pairs of players using tautly strung rackets to hit a ball and bounce over a net on a rectangular court. Points are awarded to a player or team whenever the opponent fails to correctly return the ball within the prescribed dimensions of the court. The formal rules of tennis were published and patented by Major Walter Clapton Winfield in 1873. Then, J.M. Heathcote, a tennis player, established a new standardized set of rules for tennis in year 1875.
Hi, my name is Siti Norshafiqah binti Sazali. My matrix number A19BS0137. So my turn is to talk about revolution of tennis in 1880 until 1890. Firstly, for the tennis racket. The tennis racket material used is still same as in 1870, but a racket with a metal head exists as early as 1889 but never widely used. The very first racket in year 1874 frame was made out of wood. The first racket used ash wood and animal glue, but late there was many different types of wood for the frames. For example, if you want a long-lasting racket, hickory will be your best option. The first strings were made out of sheepgut. The strings were very expensive. However, some tennis professionals thought that the quality was worth the extra money. Secondly is about tennis ball. A real tennis ball is made by hand actually. The tight ball is covered with two sections of yellow cloth, each cut in the shape of an 8 and tightly stitched round it. At this time also began to appear balls of volcanic rubber, which at the time was considered to reduce the damage to the grass in the ring. Next is about tennis apparel. For women, the female tennis player had more flesh cover than a lady dinner at Downtown Abbey. Women's clothing in the year 1880 was not an emphasis of tennis. For example, women simply wore their ordinary dress to play lawn tennis. Sleeves were long and skirts after brushed the ground. For male tennis players, they wore clothes similar to attire for other sports like cricket. Last but not least is about rules of tennis in this year. Tennis was originally named as lawn tennis. It was a game in which two opposing players or pairs of players used stoutly strung rackets to hit a ball and bounce over a net on a rectangular court. Points are awarded to a player or team whenever the opponent fails to correctly return the ball within the prescribed dimension of the court. In 1880, the overhead smash was introduced into the game by the Renshaw brothers. In 1881, the United States National Lawn Tennis Association (USNLTA) is found. The first US Championship are played tough only for American citizens until 1885. In 1884, Wimbledon Championships are open to women for the first
Hi,
time.
my name is Shazarina binti Samsal Anwar and my metric card number is A19BS0142. I will explain about tennis during 1890 to 1979. First is tennis racket. During this time, they are using flat top racket with thick original and perfect string. The racket is based on the French origin and it has leather strip around the top of the frame in order to protect the strings. Tennis racket during 1890 had long grips, limited throat region, and short head. The head length of the racket barely changed from the 1890s to the 1970s, even though the throat regions lengthened and grip shortened. Next is tennis ball. During 1890s, tennis ball was completely rubber and covered with flannel, and the color had been black or white depending on the background of the court. In 1972, the International Tennis Federation changed the official color of the tennis ball to yellow in order to make the ball more visible to the viewers. The only tennis tournament that decided to keep the traditional tennis ball in white color was the tournament Wimbledon. This makes sense because this is considered the most prestigious and highly sought after tournament for most tennis players and all tennis fans. Next is tennis clothing. During 1890, Atkinson goes on to recommend a plain tennis dress with a full skirt approximately 3 yards and a half round and made to clear the ground by about 4 inches. For color, Atkinson advised that white is prettier for tennis than anything else. In 1973, tennis player Billie Jean King created the Women's Tennis Association, known as WTA, an organization that provides touring opportunities and advocating for females in the sport. Fashion was taken over with short hemlines and tight clothing, which was often worn by dancers when grooving to fast-paced music in crowded nightclubs. Female tennis dress reflected America's disco culture by revealing more skin than ever. It began during the mode era 1960s when tennis skirts rose above the knee. Length intensified in the 70s with skirts meeting at mid-thigh, which revealed full bottoms during play. In 1976, player Chris Evert embraced this trend by wearing frilly pink bottoms underneath her skirt while playing a match. This was quite a change from the long-pleated skirts of their early 20th century sisters. Next is rules. During 1890 to 1960, a lot of serve was invented, like overhead serve and volley mixed with a few baseline points. In the beginning, players used continental grip for every shot, but American was the first to use 3 different grips, which were Eastern forehand for the forehand, continental for the serve and volley, and Eastern backhand for the backhand. For 1970 to 1979, topspin's popularity grew with 2 players in the 1970s. Even though many players were already using topspin, Bon Ball showed that he could hit heavy topspin and still win the fast lawns at Wimbledon. Even Len took his step, showing that he could hit the ball harder than players that hit it and the ball would still go in consistently. He was acknowledged as the father of modern power tennis, and during 1970, two-handed backhand was introduced. Although there are many players like Cliff Drysdale used two-handed backhand before it was popular. The real success of the two-handed backhand was during 1970s.
Hi, my name is Chong Kok Tai and I am a student from SHMR. So today I would like to talk about the changes in tennis racket, tennis ball and tennis rule in year 1980 until 1990. So first, the tennis racket made in 1980s had changed which from wooden to metal composite racket. In 1987, a brand named Danny had been produced a racket that had variable balance system which they add some weight on the handle of the racket. So after 2 years, in 1990, which is the mat racket sport in United States, have been produced a way more good racket which the racket clamps power increased by 20% and the shock reduced by 30%, which is very excellent in ball control, but this kind of racket is very difficult to string. So next, the tennis ball. Before this, they all using white tennis ball in all the competition and the tournament. However, International Tennis Federation ITF have taken the initiative to change the tennis ball colors, which is from white to yellow. So we all know that the yellow is optic yellow. It is because the television viewer and the spectator in live can see clearly about the tennis ball movement. So in 1986, which is the Wimbledon tournament, have been used the yellow tennis ball until nowadays. Third, in 1980, the ITF started focus on the drug test, which the drug test also conducted by the Men's Tennis Council began at the late of the year 1980 and focused on reaction drugs because ITF would like to make sure every single tennis player did not cheat in the game and also that is fair to everyone.
Hi, I am Amr Al-Athuri, taking the course UKQ2202. Tennis matricule number is A18CS4032. So today I'm gonna talk about the revolution of tennis. So talking about the tennis revolution, when it comes to racket, as you can see, this is like the last version of one of the best tennis rackets that Novak Djokovic had been used. But if you are talking about the past, if you see the past, this is how it was in the past, like in 1870 or 1880, around that. The rackets were like this, even like in the, how can I say, even in 1980, as you can as you can see in this picture, this is around 2000. But when it comes to around 2020, like all the rackets became like this, in this shape, and of course the quality became better than before. And yeah, that's it actually for the rackets, the revolution for rackets. But when it comes to the balls, as you can see this picture, this is the ball that it has been used, I think, around 1880, something like this. It was in this shape. But a fun fact that in the 12th century, the balls were like this, as you can see in the picture. It was so weird, stuffed with weird things, and as they say, it was some animal things. It was stuffed inside it. But nowadays the balls like almost in this shape, which is actually way better than 18s, way better than before. And a fun fact when talking about the balls, that actually Novak Djokovic was the most one who bounced the ball on the ground before serving, and it was actually 39 bounced. And when it comes to the rules, for tennis rules, actually it is almost the same since 1990. It was almost the same, but there was actually small changes, like for example the after the third set there was a break for 10 minutes, and this actually it's not there anymore. And rest after the first game of each set is actually removed. That's it.
Hi everyone, I'm Ho Ji-Xian. I'm going to talk about the revolution of tennis from year 2017 to present. First of all, I'm going to talk about the tennis racket. This is the image of old and modern tennis racket. The racket nowadays is made of graphite and composite material. Most of the modern racket have some common trends like bigger head, lighter, stiffer, with more open string and thicker beams. The changes of tennis racket also causes the changes of style playing on the court. Now I'm going to show you guys a video how the players are competing with each other on the court nowadays. Tennis now is a fast-paced game of power, stamina and mental toughness. An average rally at the major tournament consists of explosive exchange from the baseline instead of strategy volleys by the net. The lighter racket has provided better topspin. The faster pace requires the racket to offer a bit more power, which higher stiffness is needed. Due to the faster swinging, they also need a larger margin of error, which bigger size of head is needed. Fashion has gone dramatic changes compared to the old days. Players are becoming more and more adventurous with their on-court attires. Certain players wear very differently compared to the others. Now I'm going to show you a few examples. Serena Williams, one of the top female players in the world. You can see from the pictures that she really dared to wear different style and colorful outfit during the competition. Rafael Nadal, one of the top male players from Spain, also wear quite differently like sleeveless shirt and long short during his competition. The hot ice technology also existed in tennis tournament nowadays. This is the video of the closest hot ice challenge in year 2018. Tennis now is much less susceptible to human error. Hot ice technology has improved the quality and accuracy of line calls almost to the point of perfection. There are 8 major tennis tournaments in the world: Wimbledon, US Open, Australian Open, French Open, Summer Games Tennis Tournament, BNP Paribas Open, WTF Finals and ATP Finals. Finally, there are 4 types of court for tennis tournament: the clay courts, hard courts, grass court and carpet courts. That's all from me.